Welcome to Healing Whole, the podcast. I'm your host, Callie. I'm a certified personal trainer and fitness instructor. I also happen to be extremely passionate about holistic living. With close to 10 years of experience, I've worked with clients from all walks of life. I also know a healthy and holistic lifestyle can be a little overwhelming. I'm here to break it down for you and take you on my journey to healing whole. Remember, the materials and content within this podcast are intended as general information only and are not to be considered a substitute for medical advice or treatment. Hello and welcome to episode 17 of Healing Whole, the podcast. I am your host, Callie, as usual, but today I have a very special guest with me, and today is an episode that's near and dear to both of our hearts for a few different reasons. Because last week was Suicide Prevention Week, which I am a huge advocate for suicide prevention. And also, I am having a down episode right now after a manic episode, so we kind of wanted to talk about that. But anyway, my special guest here today is Rick, who happens to be my boyfriend. If you don't follow on Facebook or Instagram or anything, that's beside this podcast, because on there he's all over the place. He's not on the podcast too much. But hi, Rick.
Hello. Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Not really anytime, though.
No, I was surprised I get to do this.
Yeah, it's a special occasion.
Yeah. In other words, you couldn't find another guest, so you
basically. No, that's not true. Just happened to be a coincidental time that I was kind of struggling with some stuff, and it was Suicide Prevention Week, so.
Yeah, it's an important week, and I'm really, in all seriousness, I'm happy to do this, and happy to sit in here with you and just talk. Yeah,
that's what we're gonna do. Is we're just kind of gonna chat with what's going on. Our kids are here, so if we seem distracted, we are, and we are sitting outside. So you'll hear crickets and things like that in the background.
Yeah, Callie kind of lives in the woods, sort of. So we're back
I'm in an apartment complex in the woods.
Yeah, so we're back here, and you hear the crickets, and
we're watching his daughter dance right now.
Yeah, so
because she's trying to distract us.
Yep. So, but I am used to being distracted. I don't do it effectively, but I do it often.
He doesn't. So anyway, let's get started. Let's first talk about what is it like for you to date someone who's bipolar, and not knowing me before I was diagnosed and then knowing me after I was diagnosed.
Well, it's something I've learned a lot about over the last year, a little over a year. I've learned a lot about being bipolar and what signs are to look for in a situation like that. You know, it's no joke. I was literally just thinking today, personally me, I can feel insufficient at times, and I was even thinking today, and I don't even tell you this, I was thinking today, like, I'd really like to get a book or something more, just to understand more
about bipolar.
Yeah, okay. And just how to approach situations and how to handle them properly, because I do the best I absolutely can, but I know I miss the mark a lot with doing things the right way, and I just want to be the best partner I can for you. But at this time, one thing that bipolar almost is kind of like a swear word to the uneducated people. It almost brings shock value, and it's like one of those. It's like one of those swear words, and I'm not going to swear, but I mean it's almost like when someone says,
you can swear on this podcast.
I'm not gonna, but because I don't swear, I don't say this, but when someone says Jesus Christ,
yeah,
and uses it as a swear, it's almost like, have you ever heard someone who says, oh, well, I think so and so's bipolar, and they almost use that as a curse.
It's almost like saying gay in the derogatory term. Like, oh my God, you're so gay.
Using the slang to describe, the slang words that were, used to poke fun at, at someone who you thought was homosexual or whatever. And we've obviously culture has just moved way beyond that. And it's a great thing that we have. But, people still will use terms like bipolar in a way that's, just in a derogatory sense, and it's the shock of, I think people misunderstand and misread bipolar and think it's this. I won't use say other people. I'll tell you what I used to think. I would think when I would say the word bipolar, I would instantly see. I hope this doesn't offend you, because I don't think this now.
Oh.
It's just one of those things where you get a visual when a word pops in your head. Like if I say watermelon, what do you see in your head?
A chicken.
Yeah, exactly. So umbrella.
A rain. No, I would see rain.
Yeah,
Rainstorm,
it's just something that
umbrella, yeah.
your brain associates certain things with certain words, and so when I thought bipolar, I would see I'd see a padded room.
Really?
I'd see a white padded room and someone in a straitjacket. And that was something that obviously.
Really?
Yeah, no joke. Because not for any other reason other than I just didn't understand.
You were uneducated.
Bipolar is actually something that, with the right help and the right support, is something that we're learning that can be managed.
It's hard because I'm a very high-functioning bipolar person. Don't know how you would say that. I'm very high-functioning at it. So that took them a while to figure out that I was bipolar because I am so high-functioning. So I can see where you're coming from when you say that's what you saw, because there is a lot of addiction with bipolar. There's a lot of mania with bipolar. Depressed states. It's all of it. It's just there's a huge wide variety of people that are bipolar, and I can see why you would see that.
Let's define some of these terms, if you don't mind, because I learned a lot of this stuff. So mania, could you explain mania?
So for me, mania is when I'm like up. I'm really high, like high on life. Basically, the saying would be not high on drugs. They don't do drugs, but high on life. Like everything just is amazing. I can accomplish so many things. I need little sleep. I am super active, have so much energy, ready to go, just ready. I talk fast. I do everything fast. I'm just on it. And then the other side would be, and I'm sure that's what you're going to ask, the depressed state.
Yeah, so bipolar bipolar is kind of like the PC term, because it used to be called manic depressive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really a PC term, it's just more of a medical term. Bipolar is just kind of what that's evolved into. And so there's two sides to it, essentially. There's the manic side, which is what Callie just described, and then there's the depressive side. So do you want to explain that a little?
Yeah, so depressed side for me is, which is kind of goes with Suicide Prevention Week. The depressed side for me is I get low, so low where I don't find point in living anymore because I'm so tired from life. Nothing has to happen to trigger me. All the things can happen to trigger me, but nothing has to happen to trigger me, and I just kind of crash. Don't want to do anything, want to stay in the house, don't want to shower, just want to relax, and I sleep a lot, and it's just total opposite of being manic. It's a total opposite of being manic. So a lot of that too goes with having suicidal thoughts, which is why it was important for me to do this after Suicide Prevention Week. Because that is it's a lot more prevalent than people think it is, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And so someone listening who might be uneducated might say, man, manic sounds pretty good.
It does. It's amazing, but you can't have mania without the depressed state. It's
amazing to an extent, but there's also negative sides to mania as well.
Yeah, there are.
Essentially there's, without going too far into the weeds, I mean, you can read up on this, to all the listeners out there, you can read up on this online and go into more detail. But essentially there's sometimes decisions made that are rash, and
they're harmful decisions.
They're harmful decisions. There's the tendency to perhaps want to spend money in a way that is not correct for your budget. So there's other sides to mania too. Mania is not, it can be a good thing, I mean, but at the same time it's not something that's entirely manageable and can really be destructive.
Absolutely.
At the same time.
And I made a lot of bad decisions in mania. I've done a lot of stupid things, drank a lot, and that's another portion of being manic is drug abuse and alcohol abuse. And I never abused drugs, but I did abuse alcohol for a long time because I was manic. And then when I wasn't manic, I was trying to cope with my depression. So it was just a mess. It was just a mess for a very long time, and it took me until I got diagnosed properly, I feel like, to really get out of it. Because, I want to advocate for it, and I want people to know they're not alone. And in order to do that, I have to talk about it online and on here. Is that hard for you?
I can say at times it can be. As I've adjusted and learned more about it, it's become less difficult. By nature, I'm a very private person, just in general. I don't post to social media, I don't typically lurk on social media that much either, though you would think differently.
Because you're always on my stuff.
But I'm always on your stuff, yeah, but that's because I support you, not because
No,
I'm
I'm
lurking. But yeah, so I don't typically. Actually, I found myself I had called you because there was an event you had put up on your personal training page, and I noticed there was wrong information, and it was literally it said just now you had posted, and I'm like, I really look like a creeper, but I did happen to be scrolling today.
All right. I don't think you're a creeper, honey.
I don't
It's fine.
scroll
Don't
a lot.
worry about
I
it.
happen to be scrolling today. My point is I'm private.
Yes,
Okay?
you are private.
That's the whole point of me saying all that. So that being said, to be in a relationship,
You're very private.
extremely private.
Speaking of.
Extremely.
Yeah.
If you need to know, I'll tell you.
Which no one usually needs to know with you.
No, they don't. And half the time they're afraid to ask, and I don't know
Because
why.
you have that face.
What's wrong with my face?
Nothing's
now?
wrong with your face. You just have that, standoffish face sometimes. You have a very loving, kind face, but sometimes it's standoffish.
Yeah, and it's a situation where people know me, they know me, and if they don't, they might be a little hesitant. So, but anyways, I think that's a defense mechanism that I put up myself that we can talk about later
On
or
another
show.
episode?
Yeah, when you're giving me therapy on another episode.
Okay.
That all being said, I think it was certainly an adjustment, and it's something that I struggled with at first, because I don't know if you had thought this too, it's what will people think? What will people think when
I thought that for a second, and then I thought, I don't give a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And essentially that I've evolved to that too, and it didn't take me long to get to that point.
No, it
that's
didn't.
essentially the first thought is and I just proceed with caution with a lot of stuff in general in life. So that all being said,
Again, it's the kids. That's why
Yeah.
we're stopping. So if we seem distracted, it's their kids are right there.
yeah, they feel the
they're-
need to tell me when they have to pee.
When they have to breathe.
Yeah. Now my kids aren't afraid to approach me at all.
No,
So-
not at all. Daddy, Daddy,
Not at all.
Daddy.
Actually, one of them just said something. So, but anyways,
So it's not as hard for you anymore.
no, it's not. It's not hard at all. It's not hard at all.
Is it hard dating someone who is suicidal? Has suicidal thoughts?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I would say I'm suicidal at
You're
the present
not.
moment,
You're
but I
not.
have suicidal thoughts.
You're not. And let's be real here, okay? If for the folks that are listening, I think all of us have had thoughts that are not life-giving thoughts,
Yeah.
and thoughts of, man, what if, what if I wasn't here, would life be better without me? I mean, man, look at in a down state, look at the people I hurt. Would they be better off without that hurt? Look at the burden I am.
That's huge. Burden. Being a burden is the biggest thing with people who are suicidal. You feel like you're a burden and the world would be better without you. And you feel like you're doing people a favor by not wanting to be here.
It's a double-edged sword, too, when you're an empath, because not only do you feel like a burden, but you also empathize with how you think someone else feels about you being a burden. So it's almost like a double whammy, but really, it's when you look at it, you have no way of truly knowing what someone else thinks or feels.
No, and it's just not your business what someone else thinks or feels of
It's
you.
really not. But
who
you can't
believes
reason
that?
with yourself
Yeah.
when you're in that rut
I
at
know.
all.
That's a huge thing that you say that, because so wellness was here. I was up, right?
Wellness is the big event each year that you
Yes.
plan. That we had you had 2,000 people come
We
through.
had 2,000 people.
Over 70 some vendors. I mean, this is a gigantic event in our small town.
So I was
a
really
lot of work.
up. Yeah, and I was really up. And my therapist actually said to me the other day, she was going back and looking at videos on Facebook. Although we're not Facebook friends because we're not allowed to be Facebook friends, but she can see my wellness page. And she was seeing that I was looking like I was manic. And I didn't even realize it until after the fact. But I was really happy the day after wellness because I think I was still manic. But I kind of then crashed since then. And I forget why I was even saying this, but I crashed since then. And I have been feeling, why I was saying this was because I was so happy. And we did a video how great it was, and I was so happy, and I was feeling so good, and how if you're struggling, you can survive because we're surviving this disease together, and all this and that and the other thing, and yay, yay, yay. And then I freaking crashed. And I wanted to be alive so badly, and I was loving life, and it was so happy, and now I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I don't know that I could live another day. Not today, but the past few days.
I don't even know what we're
Okay, so we
last.
had to take a break. Rick doesn't know where we were at last. We had to take a break because the kids were being crazy, of course. So that's life, though. So
Put your headphones on.
gotta get used to it. That's life with kids. This is our life. This is our life with bipolar and crazy kids. And now I feel like it's raining.
Yeah,
feel
I felt
water
that
just
too, but the sky's blue, so I don't know what's going on.
There's definitely water coming down, though.
Is
It
it?
must be from his air conditioner.
It's like a mist.
Yeah, it's from his air conditioner.
Yeah,
That's cool.
maybe it's God
Uh,
saying, "Just calm down, man."
Yeah, just calm down, man. So Rick was saying, we were going to record the whole thing over again because Rick thought that he was being kind of an a-hole.
Well, I just thought, like, I don't want to sound like I know everything about this because I don't know. I know, like, a minuscule amount about it. I've learned a lot in the last year.
Why are you so insecure?
I don't know. Because I have a bipolar girlfriend.
Well then, he was quick to say that one.
No.
No, you weren't a jerk at all,
Okay.
by any means.
Yeah. No, I just, it's with, like, all the humility in the world that I talk about this stuff. And, like, one thing Callie and I have learned is to be able to communicate openly and honestly.
Which is huge and so important. If you are in a relationship and you are bipolar, or if you want to have a good relationship with your family, you need to communicate and use proper communication.
Yeah, 100%. And, like, we don't have it mastered. But there's times where when we're in a situation and we need to, like, just take a chill, usually we can do that. We actually have a code word for that, but I don't want to say it because
I know people will know.
people will know that we're saying that word a lot.
Yeah.
You know, but no, I mean, really, it's something we don't always catch it. You know, there's times where it's just like, you know, emotion gets the best of, and you know, we're just kind of like, we're in that moment and we can't like take and just cool off. So, but obviously we're not perfect, and we're not here to give relationship advice by any means. We're more of just talking about the fact that
What it's like, what our experience is like.
yeah, what our experience is like, and the fact that it's very, like, I mean, it's good. It is good.
We are navigating it well, I think so, but it took a lot of work for us to get here. You want to talk about that a little bit?
I don't know. I mean, there's a whole lot to talk about. So, I don't, where do you want me to start?
Well, I want to start with what I did to work on myself, and then maybe you can kind of go with what you did to work on yourself, and then we can talk about how we worked.
That sounds
together.
good. That sounds good.
So for me, what it started with was a serious self-care routine. I wake up every morning, I journal, I write down my intentions for the day, my positive affirmations, what I'm grateful for. I have a to-do list, meditate, move for 30 minutes, do some tapping, things like that. So again, if you hear noise in the background, the kids are here, but I have a serious self-care routine that I try to take care of, and when I get off of that, that's when I start to decline immediately. Honestly, I noticed it immediately. And then therapy regularly, eating well, and then getting my movement in is also another big one. So individually, that's what I did for myself, and reading was huge. And I read some like personal development books and went to some workshops. That's what I do for myself to constantly learn and grow. So I don't know, what do you feel like you do? Do you feel like you did something? Because I feel like you're different than... Because Rick and I, totally honest, we dated for a while and then we broke up for a while and started dating again when we thought we were ready. So did you work on some things when you were on your own?
Yeah, it's your work, like how you're working on stuff is very practical and stuff like that, and like, you know, how I'm doing things is a little bit different sometimes. Like for example, like you have your daily regimen and stuff like that, and I'm not a morning person at all, so I kind of have to, I adjust. I mean, I get up early. That's kind of just something that I do now, but like I don't always sleep well, so that sometimes can be a struggle. But like the biggest thing for me, and there's other things as well that are great self-care things for me, but a big thing for me has been therapy. I have the best therapist for me, that I couldn't imagine. He actually moved his office about, almost 30 minutes north. And, I have the choice of, do I take more time away from work that I have to make up later, obviously, to continue seeing this person, my therapist, or do I find someone else? And it's like, it's an easy answer. Like, this guy that is my therapist he's the best person for me. And I don't think he's the best, but he's the best for me. And I'm so blessed and lucky to find that. That's been a huge part of my journey. And the things that we discuss, I'm able to implement. A lot of it has to do with, and if we're being real and frank here, I'm not the most emotionally stable person by any means. I have ups and downs as well. Big ones. And just a lot of, it's been an interesting season of life in general, and there's been a lot of things I've learned. There's been a lot of I don't want to get like crazy into my background because that's just not what I do, but I've learned a lot through a lot of situations, and one big thing that I've worked on is being aware of when I feel a certain emotion, trying to take and say, wait, okay, I recognize this. And I understand what this is right now, and this may or may not be real. This situation, I'm an overthinker. My brain is constantly active. Again, Callie can tell you that, and she can vouch for that all day long. Mm-hmm. I have extreme troubles with just my mind constantly thinking and overthinking.
So it has to be hard for you being with someone, and we'll get back to what we worked on together, but...
It's okay, because I didn't feel like I worked on nearly as much as you.
Stop. It has to be hard being such an overthinker and dealing with someone who has so many ups and downs like I do, because I can be very lovey when I'm manic, and then when I'm depressed, I'm just kind of like, leave me alone, I don't want to be bothered. So how do you navigate that? Sometimes not that well.
No, but you tell me. I mean, like, how do I navigate that?
That's hard. I think what you did before was you would lash out. And you have worked on things because now we communicate. When you're feeling insecure because I'm not being lovey, you tell me and we talk about it. And then I am also reciprocating that and not freaking out because I'm not being so manic that I'm agitated, and I'm not freaking out saying, why do you need so much attention? Why do you need so much attention? I'm more understanding of your needs, I think. Do you think?
Yeah.
Not always.
No, not always. Today, for example, I just was like, within myself, I was just struggling in general, and just thinking about, today was a day where you and I didn't interact very much. This is the most interaction we've had all day.
But no reason other than I was just chilling.
But I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a conflict about it. It was just kind of like, later on, I told her a joke, and a lot of things. One thing, and I'll tell you one thing I've done that helps me cope is when I have a thought that I believe is irrational. It's the weirdest thing because I know it's irrational in my brain, but there's like 12 inches between my brain and my heart, and that thought has to travel between
Your head's
those
bigger
two.
than that, honey.
All right, 13 and a half inches between the two. But, geez. So, little peek behind the scenes. She was reading, while I was in the middle of talking, she was reading something on her phone, and I casually grabbed it and put it near my rear end on this bench we're sitting on, and it just vibrated and just, I thought, I didn't know what that was.
Shocked ya.
Yeah,
I thought it was a dragonfly again.
I didn't know what that was. So, completely lost my train of thought again.
So let's talk about what we worked on together.
Okay.
So communication is key. Bigger than anything.
Yeah.
How did we work on that? I don't even know. We just did.
No, we just got real with each other, like, and I think the time we spent apart, I think caused us to be more grateful, and not take each other for granted. So when I would come to Callie and say, "Hey, here's what I'm feeling," it was as though, no offense, it was as though you took it more serious.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and you thought, okay, that's valid, and I appreciate and I understand and I hear that. So let's work on. Let's try to find a resolution. Let's try to find common ground, meet in the middle.
I'm a lot more understanding now than I was before as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was not very understanding before, and that was just a factor of my bipolar. I was very agitated all the time, and I'm way less agitated now than I was. So I can handle things a lot better now than I could before. I don't know if you noticed that.
I do.
I would hope you do.
I do.
Because that was huge, I think, for me.
Yeah, I do. I do notice that.
So I'm trying to think, what else did we work on together? I mean, communicating is giant. And then you also understanding my routine, I think. You're much more understanding as well.
Yep.
Like when you're not getting the attention and I'm doing my routine, you're totally fine with that. As long as we're in the same room and hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important. I think being understanding of your partner when you're bipolar, the partner that's not bipolar, being understanding of the partner that is bipolar is huge, because there's a lot of things that we have to do. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into being bipolar. There's a lot of work to being a functioning bipolar human. For me, at least, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And for you, being understanding is huge. And it makes me feel more accepted by not only you, but just by society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely life after this type of diagnosis, 100%, and there's a good life after it, but there's a lot of, I mean, pride has to take a back seat in that, and that's something I feel you've learned is, you have been and are still at times a very stubborn individual.
No.
Extremely.
Me?
Extremely, 100%. And I'm not joking at all.
I don't believe
when I
it.
say that. But you have allowed yourself too, though, to understand that I don't have all the answers. Meaning, Callie does not have all the answers, and I understand that Rick doesn't have all the answers. And I
That's
understand
hard, though.
It's very hard, and I'm quick to admit, I think, when I'm wrong.
You are very quick to admit. I take a lot longer.
Yeah, and we understand that about each other, though. There's times if there's a disagreement where I understand that she needs more time, and
which is often.
Yeah, and so me being I can, if I'm in a moment where I'm insecure, that's very difficult for me because it feels like minutes crawl, because I want to resolve things and I want things to be okay, and that's a struggle because it just feels like, seconds feel like minutes, and minutes can feel like hours.
Yeah.
And so, but that's important for me to give you that time to process through things, and then come back with, an honest assessment. Like, it's almost like, it has to replay, and then you take an assessment and think, okay, here I was right, but also, I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have said that. And, I almost can, like, as soon as the words come out of my mouth, I'm just like,
see, it takes me a lot longer.
Damn it.
Yeah, it takes me a lot longer.
So it's just it's just understanding each other and learning those things, and a lot of it just comes with time. I mean,
Patience.
We've lived through these things, and meeting in the middle is a big thing. I may not understand a situation completely, but I will attempt to, and Callie does the same exact thing for me. I will attempt to meet in the middle, just to understand what's going on. And, you do that a lot for me too. If I'm having an irrational thought, you will not just say, no, that thought's not true. You will do something to prove that thought's not true, even though you may not find it necessary at the moment, because you're in a different headspace than I am at that moment. You're thinking, that's completely 100% irrational. But for me, even though in my head I know it's irrational, in my heart I have a hard time with that, because betrayal has just been a large part of life for me. So it's almost like there's times where I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I'm waiting for betrayal to come. And so, Callie will actually go above and beyond at times to do something just to show me that, yeah, that thought is so irrational. And
that took time though too to learn that, and for me to have the patience and everything. That is a lot of like my routine, getting me taking care of my mental health, taking care of myself. I cannot say enough about a self-care routine. If you are bipolar or survive any kind of mental health illness, please get some kind of self-care routine, because it is so needed. What you enjoy, what makes you happy, that's healthy habits. Please continue to do that.
Absolutely.
So, I do want to talk about this last downfall. So we kind of talked about it earlier, how I was a little bit manic, and then after wellness, I became depressed again. So right now I'm kind of in a depressed state. I might be coming out of it, but I'm not sure. I'll have to wait and see how I wake up tomorrow. But I mean, it's hard because I definitely felt like in the last week that I don't want to be here anymore. And that you guys would all be better off without me. And I'm sure that's hard for you to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, if I were still focused on me at all times, that's a very hard pill to swallow, because you think, well, wait a minute, why am I not enough for you? But
it has nothing to do with anybody but me.
And I've learned that. And I've learned to understand that, and understand, again, that I need to meet you in the middle. I keep going back to that. You do that for me, and I do that for you. I had to, I didn't have to, but I wanted to just take I turned a lot of plans upside down, and we just took a day, Thursday, and just took a day to ourselves, and just to try to do nothing. And,
I still tried to do something.
You did, and that didn't go very well.
No.
It didn't, so, but I rescheduled a lot of stuff, and God bless the fact that my work is very flexible, and I'm able to do that. And of course I have vacation time I'm able to use for situations like that. And, but it was one of those things where it was just like, okay, this is a priority right now, and nothing else is more important than this. I may see this as irrational, because for goodness sakes, of course we're better with you here, but when you're in that moment,
you don't see it like that.
Mm-hmm. The only thing you can focus on is the negative, and there's actually there's this alternate reality.
It absolutely is an alternate reality. That's a great way to explain it.
It's not a true reality. It's an alternate reality. It's like it's a darkened reality, and you're only seeing one side of things, and you're seeing the negative impact based on moments where you were influenced by this illness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 100% not you and not who you are. And so it does take your friends, family, and loved ones sometimes there's never the right words. I never have the right words to say.
No one does.
But I can be there with you. I think I told you, and at the moment, I think in the moment I told you this, you didn't like it because you told me to stop. But like I told you, I will be here to laugh with you. I'll be here to cry with you. I'll be here to sit quietly with you. I'll be here to do whatever with you. But the bottom line is I'm here with you for that. And it doesn't matter what we do. But I'm here with you. And you're never alone. And you never have to feel that way.
And nobody's ever alone. Even no matter how much they think they are or feel they are. No matter what situation you're in, you're not alone. Someone loves you.
Yeah. And the fact of how, open you are about this, it works both ways. Obviously, I'm sure people see it and they're like, oh my gosh, really? And then other people are encouraged by that. And actually, you've had people reach out to you privately. A lot of people. It's a regular basis that people reach out and just to talk about things. And there's still, for whatever reason, a huge stigma around mental health. And
especially suicide.
Yeah, and that was just, that's something where, we just...
Cora's so funny. She's like, what happened?
Yeah, it went in the garbage. She got it. It's just, there's a stigma around it. And that's part of the reason we wanted to just talk about this openly, is that, look, I was about to say we are normal. We're not normal.
No one's normal.
No one's normal, and that's what's beautiful.
No such thing as normal.
No, there's no such thing as normal, but we are real humans with real emotions and real struggles and also real highs and real accomplishments and real things like that.
And real lows.
Yeah, and real lows. And right now just happens to be one of those. One of those.
But we'll get through it.
Yeah, one of those times. And one thing, that I've appreciated more and more of what Callie's doing and how she's learning is the fact that she's now become able to identify when she is in a situation where she's not being her.
Yes, absolutely. Totally. And I can admit it before.
Yeah.
Properly being medicated and taking care of myself, I would not be able to admit it.
No, it would just be...
I would feel like you were attacking me.
Well, yeah.
Or anyone was attacking me.
Yeah, and we actually had a conversation that we just kind of had to abruptly stop because it began to go down that road. And later on, you said, I know you weren't attacking me. But in that moment, hope this is okay. Hope this is okay to share. Mm-hmm. You told me to say whatever. In that moment, you literally told me you're attacking me. You don't accept me for who I am. And and that couldn't be, and that's hard because that couldn't be further from the truth. And to hear someone you care about so deeply say that is painful, but I knew that wasn't you talking. And that's the difference too. I'm able to take and compartmentalize that and say, no, that's not her talking right now. This is just a bad moment. It's a bad time. And I found the best thing to do is in those situations is to not feed into that. But really is to just kind of stop the conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
And
that's the best way to go.
Yeah, and
that's the best thing for me.
I think I might have even said to you, like, because you commented on the fact that I wasn't saying anything. I said, well, I'm not going to say anything. I know it's going to make you mad, but we're just not continuing this conversation right now. And that was just kind of how that worked out. And in the moment, it was just kind of like, well, this sucks. But, we
got through it
very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly, much quicker than we would have before. And that's just a real just testimony to the fact that you are where you are and you're very aware. And it has to do with all the self-care. You through this self-care, here's something I never said before about this. But through this self-care, I feel like you've learned to know who you are better.
Absolutely.
And I feel like
100%.
The fact that you know who you are better now is you're able to identify now when it's not you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And
I totally 100% agree with that.
When I met you, I still at that point, you're a strong woman and you're still a strong woman, but I don't think you knew who you were.
Not even close.
Not even, you had an idea.
Yeah.
You had an idea what you wanted to be.
Yes.
But you had no idea who you were.
I didn't even know how to get there.
Yeah. And you're every day we get closer to that. And I could say the same thing about myself. Yeah. I didn't know who I was.
Most people can.
Yeah. So, it's been a huge learning experience, but the fact that you're open and aware and understand that you can identify the fact that, okay, this isn't me right now. I'm so sorry. And you've said that to me. I'm sorry, that's not me. That wasn't me. And, and I've said that to you about things I've said too and done. And, I often say this, it won't be like this forever. I often say. And so that seeing that hope it means everything. And it's not just hope. It's not just empty hope. It's a confident hope, and just an expectation of good.
Even if it is like this forever, I still don't think I'd mind. It's not that bad.
It's not bad. It really isn't. And it's, again, there's life after this, and it's beautiful, and it's fulfilling.
We had some really great times in the last 6 months. We happen to be going through, not us as a couple, me right now, and he's going through it with me, going through a downtime, but we've had some really amazing times in the last 6 months since we got back together, or maybe more than that. I'm not sure exactly how many months it was, but sorry, I'm tired.
I know. I know.
Tired. It's that down state.
Yeah, well, and you, but that doesn't define you either.
No.
And I want to drive that point home that this down state, the only reason we're talking about it so much is because we're recording a podcast.
Yeah.
It's not like we sit here and have these conversations constantly. Oh, I'm just down. From time to time, she's going to say, I'm tired, or I don't feel great, or I'm going to bed early. But it's not like we sit here and talk about this like as if we put it up on some pedestal. Mm-mm. The truth is, this is just
This is the first time we talked about it all day.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just, like I said, it's the first time you really talked to me all day. So I'm grateful for that.
I was enjoying my time.
She was. She just wasn't being bothered by me.
I was on my computer. I was cleaning the house.
Yeah.
I was enjoying my time alone.
I did 5 loads of laundry.
I did too.
So yeah.
You're ahead of me.
Yep. But yeah. So I mean, that all being said, it's not like we put this up on some pedestal and we and I don't even like when you say, my downtime or
This downtime.
it's that's not yours. You're just experiencing that right now. It's a symptom of a bigger picture. And it's not something that you agree with or receive or in any way identify with or own. It's just something that, literally is temporary. And
taking the steps through it right now.
Yeah, and you're just walking through it right now. And, again, becoming a better person every day because of it and learning how to manage it. So if you can't tell, I'm very proud of her.
Yeah, you give me lots of compliments. It makes me uncomfortable.
That's why she's acting like she's tired. She does that. When she wants to get rid of me, she just says,
pretty much.
I'm tired.
Pretty much.
So
I'm tired.
Is it time to wrap up?
I think it's time
I could talk for a couple hours.
I know you could, and I can't.
Yeah,
I'm
we could
tired.
do this for a while.
But
now I like this recording. If you're listening, sorry about the first 10 minutes. They sucked, but this is good. You should have seen her face when I said it sucked.
Oh God.
I sucked in the first 10 minutes.
Thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome. Are we sure? You sure we're done?
Yeah, I think
this was fun.
No, I think I'm done.
This was fun.
I'm really tired.
I'll finish the podcast. You can go
right,
ahead and
bye.
do what you're doing.
See you guys later. Have a good day. Just kidding. I wouldn't leave him alone on my podcast.
No.
You're crazy.
No. I would give you the real dirt then.
Yeah, that's not happening. Really what I do.
No, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Too.
I would say anytime, but not anytime.
No,
Special
because
occasions.
No, it's really only when there's something not having to do with health.
Yes.
Physical health. Yes. We can talk mental health anytime.
Or our spiritual health.
Yeah.
You're spiritual.
Well, I maybe.
You're spiritual.
Depends on the time of day. No, I am, and I'm not ashamed of that.
So.
But yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me on. This is something that gives me life and fulfills me, like to be able to do this with you and like just to be that important to you that you would allow me to do this and be with you.
So I always ask everybody the last question, is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't? Besides asking on a date, because I'm not doing that.
Well, why aren't you doing that?
Because I'm not asking you on a date.
Well, okay then. There's nothing else you need to ask me right now, I don't think.
Honey, will you go out with me?
I'll think about it.
All right. See what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Give a little. Takes a lot.
Yes, I'll go.
All right. Sounds good. So nothing I should have asked you that I didn't?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we can always revisit this later and kind of give updates. And I just want to leave with a disclaimer.
Don't be trying to get yourself back in on this podcast.
Well, I might start one.
Oh, okay.
So.
And maybe you can invite me on yours.
Yeah. No, I probably won't. But one thing I wanted to say too is like, please don't hear that we're like trying to do any kind of relationship couple counseling by any means, because
God, no.
I'm gonna go back and listen to this and be like, you freaking idiot, you sound so dumb.
I think we're just trying to tell you our story to maybe help you better navigate your story.
And our story's full of faults and full of a lot of mistakes and a lot of I mean, I learn from everything, so I try not to say regrets, but there are things obviously I regret.
Regrets. Remember
the show?
The tattoo, Ragrat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was like a Twix commercial or something like that. But regrets is what it was.
Regrets.
But yeah, I mean, so there's a lot we've been through, and, we continue to learn, and we are, we're good. Is my bottom line, and good obviously isn't perfect. It's not, we're good.
Our relationship is good for us. For us.
And it continues to get better.
Yes.
And
I'm proud of us.
Yeah, I am too, and we enjoy being around each other. We enjoy each other, and we communicate a lot. Mm-hmm. Communication has been so important. I would think if there's one takeaway out of all this,
all this jabbering,
is that we clearly communicate. And it's so much better to be able to clearly communicate now that we understand what's going on, and that we understand that, we're navigating a different situation than what we thought at first.
Yes.
And so knowing that and be able to communicate through that and just being able to give each other the benefit of the doubt as best we can. We don't always, but as best we can.
We do
It's
fairly well.
gigantic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you.
So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, anytime.
How do you close this thing up?
So I usually just say thank you, but I'm not going to say thank you to you because it's you. No, I'm kidding. Thank you. Seriously. Thank you for coming on and chatting and giving people a better understanding of what it's like to be with someone that's bipolar, because I know it's not the easiest thing in the world.
Maybe we can have another episode where you tell everybody what it's like to be with someone who's tall.
Oh, we can talk about many other things besides how tall you are. You're giving me eyebrows. Oh, gosh, people. Anyway, thank you. And thank you guys so much for joining me for another episode of Healing Whole, the podcast. I will see you next time.